Hmm. I just have to start with a joke, Tyler. Okay? Because it is about lightening the heart. Buddhist practices that lighten the heart. That's the title of this three. But I realize that all Buddhist practices, that's what they're for, is to lighten the heart. So to them, the heart is the mind. It's not, it's like we go, oh, mind's up here, mind is the brain. But to them, the mind is separate. It's not substantial. It's not material. And they relate it more with the heart. So lighten the heart, lighten the mind. No, 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 that's a joke. It's a good one, Laurie. That's a good one. No, you want the joke? Should we start with a joke? Okay, so this guy's on an airplane, right? Maybe you've heard this. He's on an airplane and he's flying along, and all of a sudden over the intercom comes, we want you all to be completely comfortable. This is a totally automated flight, and there are no actual, um, there's no pilot or co-pilot. Everything is totally automated. And so please sit back and enjoy the flight. Um, we're sure you're going to have a very wonderful time. And this has been totally tested and worked out, and nothing can go wrong. Go wrong. Go wrong. Go wrong. So, yeah. So sometimes I think that's kind of funny, but it's also scary. Okay. So it's like I think Buddhism holds those two quite well, that it'll go on and on about that was the first noble truth was suffering that the Buddha taught about suffering and the causes of suffering. And okay, then he also said, okay, well, there's a way out. So good for that. But I think first the idea of knowing that there is a problem, and having that kind of, and a lot of teachers have talked about that, like having this kind of heightened awareness um, that, anytime nothing can go wrong. We're thinking that, but um, you know, our we're going to die at some point, right? We got that going for us. So, and disaster can or problems can strike us at any time. Everybody's had that experience. Huh? Everybody's had that experience. It could be sickness. It could be bad news of a friend who's close who's passed away, or something that you've been counting on doesn't happen, or something that you were hoping wouldn't happen happens. So, so I think Buddhism's a lot about accepting that in a way, and that not accepting that that's kind of the nature of the airplane. You know, it's not something to count on for our refuge or for our well-being. Um, So they say best to turn to our own mind, right? Because that's where we might have something we can do about what's going on, how we react to things, right? How we react to things, how we respond to things. Maybe it'd be better. React almost sounds like it's the amygdala speaking, the lizard brain speaking, the fight or flight. So how do we bring in awareness to um, override some of those automatic reactions, right? How do we do that? So I think Buddhism is really quite good about that. Hi. Mm, So I think, it's really, it sees that, and I mean, they're seeing that for ourselves, and then realizing that everybody's in the same boat. I'm not alone in that. We're not alone in that, you know, having that predicament, this great opportunity where, we have some health and opportunity and mental faculties and a chance to sort of look at our mind more and try to um, root out some of the causes of suffering and cultivate some of the things that bring us more happiness. But everybody's in that position, and we're dependent on others. We're not independently existing, right? Those are the two things. Like we're not independently existing. They go together, right? Compassion and wisdom. Like we're not independently existing, although it looks that way. It appears that way. And so we have to use our wisdom to circumvent this view or how things appear to us, that they're separate from us, they're, independent from us. And then through that, compassion can arise because, wow, that's causing me suffering. Compassion for ourselves, compassion for others. Others are also under this veil, you know. It's like a mirage in a way, right? You sure there's water up there, you're dying of thirst, and it looks like water, and the closer you get, it keeps going further away until you realize it's just, or a rainbow, beautiful rainbow. It could be something beautiful. Uh, but we're aware it's made of causes and conditions, and it's not going to last. So everybody's in that same boat, and the more we try to hold it still, the more we try to hold on to that view of things are existing independently and somehow concretely, the more we suffer. I think. I mean, it feels that way. They say that, and it feels that way to me. The more I hold on, the more I try to keep something the way it is, hold on to a certain concept of somebody, you know. So um, last week we worked on. So in order to do this, in order to go inward and go to look at our own mind, it's important to try to relax and let go of not only some of the physical, just anxiety we might have or tension we might have and need to, go do things. Don't just do something, sit there, I think is a motto. So we're kind of doers, keep moving. And the mind, so it's how to calm the mind, how calm the body. So last week we worked a bit on that body scan meditation and breathing and then sort of setting up a situation where we can just watch our own mind and see what's going on. Because we have to do that first, right? And then we do that for a little bit and it seems, wow, it's a lot worse now than it was before I started looking. And it's just because we're seeing what's going on. So I meet people who say, I can't meditate. My mind's too busy or I'm too impatient. And it's like, that's why we meditate, partly, because our mind is so busy. And I don't know. I mean, there's lots of reasons, It's just one line. So sitting and being comfortable and relaxing and sort of accepting. And last week we talked a bit about smiling. And I was just noticing, are all these Buddhists smiling, Tyler? I think they kind of, I don't know if it's a smirk, like they know something we don't, or I don't know. I think it's upturned. But we do know, okay? That's the premise of Buddhism too. We all have this potential. We have this enlightened energy within us. We have wisdom within us. I mean, how could we know things? How could we experience things if we didn't have some way of knowing? So we have it already. I'm not making that up, and I think we all feel we have some spark going on. I mean, right? So It's just uncovering it. They say recognizing it or uncovering it. It's not something new that we have to find. So the smile is really big. Thich Nhat Hanh was big on smiling. I learned he's from Vietnam, but I heard he was a Zen master. No, I've read it a couple times. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. So somewhere along the line he got training, but he's big on smiling. It can be a practice just to smile. Like when you get up in the morning, look in the mirror, smile, you know. I mean, just to smile, it changes things, doesn't it? Huh? I've been trying to do it more instead of being grumpy, being serious, too serious, just smile. And there's this whole physiology about it where it does things to your face and then, and not just smile in your mouth, but your whole face and your whole body and your organs and your toes, like everything's smiling. So there's a lot of, because there's so many problems, mental problems. So we're all, I was trained as a bit, well, did Buddhism, got into Buddhism, then Western psychology, then Buddhism, and then I went to grad school as a therapist in a high school for 22 years. So I think we're all, according to Buddhism, we're all mentally ill. I mean, I mean, some are worse. Maybe it's afflicting them more than others, but everybody's who's not enlightened, who's not hasn't cleared away at all, we have mental issues. We suffer from afflictions like things that plague us, like anger and jealousy and cravings, and then we also have mistaken views where we see things incorrectly, like this thing about, you know, you exist separately from me, Jill. That's the way it appears to me, right? You're out there, but yet that's impossible. I mean, the eye doesn't work, I have to take in a perception. I have to have perception. I have to have an object of perception. And then there's the act of perceiving. And they don't work independently, right? And the figure comes into my eyes and gets turned upside down, doesn't it? Inside. Have you heard this? And then it goes into electrical impulses that go to the brain, and then I make sense of it. Oh, that's Jill, right? I'm very simple. I think it has to work simply because it's because because we're trying to survive. Isn't it survive and procreate? Those are the two things we animals do. I mean, we're trying to get beyond that a little bit because it's sort of painful. I mean, it can cause a lot of, I'm not saying it's all painful, but I mean, it can cause a lot of problems. So we're trying to get beyond that. So maybe it's made simple because then, oh, that's an enemy, run away. Oh, that's a friend, you know, but we've taken it too far. I think we've taken it too far where we quickly make friends and enemies out of people who, wait a minute, like, can't they just be a human being like me who wants to be happy and doesn't want to suffer? Can't we just do that? Can't we just go to that? So we've fabricated a lot of excess stuff that causes more problems. So there's that the delusion part is big, the affliction part is big. So there are a lot of things that this week is about covering up that what gets in the way of us being able to have a light heart, right? So there's a lot, right? 84,000 delusions or something. I think there's more, but they're big on numbers. What Lama Zopa said one time, it's 7 times 3 countless eons. It's like a countless eon is like countless. So how do you do 7 times countless? But anyway, so it's sort of trying to expand the mind a bit because we get very limited. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of a starter. So, so like we can see things a certain way, right? So we have an experience, we perceive it, we label it, we label it, right? We believe it, our label, and then we react. Does that make sense? That Lama Zopa said that once to somebody. It's up on our fridge now. So the label's huge, right? We can have a perception, but the label's huge. Like, oh, bad person. Then we believe it. We believe our label. Or this is really good. Ah, you ever get a buy a banana and I buy bananas. Eat bananas. I like bananas. You get it home and banana, then you peel it back and it's rotten, right? So your mind, you can see your mind going on this roller coaster ride because of the label, good and bad, right? So it's really good to watch the mind, right? It's really good to watch our mind and see what it does, and not just react or respond too quickly, but just to see what it's doing, Wow, you're doing all that in such a short period of time. All that happens really quickly, you know? So if we can slow it down, we have an opportunity to affect its course, right? Oh, you're labeling friend or enemy or stranger. Okay. So enemy, you're going to label them stranger. So why don't you go up and say hi? And then what happens? Oh, I don't like him. Oh, I like him. So in one person, you can have friend, enemy, stranger. And where's that coming from? They don't walk around with a placard on their chest, I'm Rich's friend. And then when you change your mind, so we're doing a lot of projecting. Is the point, right? We do a lot of projecting, and then we put that, we think that projection is actually exists out there separate from us. It's not in my notes, Tyler. You did it again. Anyway, I think it's important though. I think right, like not trusting in a way, it's not trusting our perception. That's a funny thing to say because we were so big in like, that's my experience and but we have to Buddhism is big about not only one point in meditation where we relax and calm down and develop our concentration but analyzing is huge in Tibetan Buddhism. We need to use our intelligence to investigate whether things are really the way they appear, you know, and whether we can, whether our the way we see things is helpful to us or not, or helpful to others, whether it's valid or not. So there's lots of meditations that go step by step on how to develop compassion, say, develop equanimity, you know, all beings have been so kind to you. Think of all the way, and you spend time on each of those, you know. I'm just the same as everyone else, but yet, you know, have this affection for them. My parents brought me into this world and took care of me, people, teachers. So you spend time hanging out in things that develop appreciation and love and compassion. Um, they don't necessarily just come automatically or last. Even if they come, do they last and are they universal? Do they apply to everybody, all beings? So I think it's very skillful. Um, Maybe I'm biased. I've been involved since 74 or so, Tibetan Buddhism. So maybe before that, I took some courses at university too, but I think I'm biased, Tyler. I mean, I have to admit it. I mean, when you spend a lot of time with something, right? Right? What do you? I look at other things. I study Western psychology, and I've studied that, and um, but it's really worthwhile to spend some time with some of the analytical meditations so that we can challenge the way we, like I did it with I was in a retreat and I had to give a talk about how all beings have been my mother and have been so kind to me. So they have that one, where um, so the mind is beginningless, they say, and it doesn't end. So we're not going to die. Well, Rich dies, this body dies, but the consciousness goes on. And if you'd say, well, I don't believe in reincarnation, then, maybe so Buddhism says, instead of just saying, like the Dalai Lama said, they believed the earth was flat, but then he realized it wasn't, so he changed his view. He said if people could prove reincarnation didn't exist, then he would change his view, right? Yeah. So it's not about, oh, I don't believe that. Well, maybe just, you know, investigate some, you know. So anyway, so there are ways to do that. There's people who've spent Westerners have spent 40 years studying reincarnation. It's still going on. There's people who remember past lives. There are people who have out-of-body experiences. And can you find the first cause of something? Like some say it's the Big Bang theory. Well, what happened before that? So Buddhism says, well, consciousness isn't material. So there's a continuum of consciousness that has no beginning and no end. I don't know. But it's good to look into it, I think, and not just draw a conclusion. So anyway, so then if my consciousness is, and I've taken many, many rebirths, then I've been in relationship with all of you in many different ways. We've all been in contact with each other in different ways. The possibilities are endless, right? If they're endless and beginningless, then it's, so you've all been my mother at one point. Now I've been your mother too, so. So what a way to, but to me, like, to me, one of the things that I like about Buddhism is like, is it effective? And the Dalai Lama has said this. I don't know the lineage of that teaching. I don't know where that came from, but is it effective to your mind? Does it change your mind? Does it help you? Does it transform your mind? Does it help you overcome suffering and have a happier mind and feel more altruistic, toward others, feel more then, so thinking that all beings have been my mother and have been so kind to me is very effective to my mind if I look at people that way. I mean, some people, well, I had a bad relationship with my mom. I didn't want to think about my mom. I hate my mom. We're going to get into that a little bit later, kind of. Holding grudges is a real dimmer, a dimmer switch to lightening the heart. Having resentment, holding grudges, right? That'll dim your, right? Doesn't it? We all know that, right? If you hold a grudge, you just think of the person, you get angry. So if you see all beings as your mother and you can think about some of the good things they did to you, like, bring you into the world. I mean, if you have to go back to when you can't even remember what happened, right? You can't even remember, we don't remember that at all, but they did, right? Walk around and have to take care. And it wasn't, what, I mean, you just ask if you've been a mother, right? You know, and if not, you could ask somebody. It's it's an effort. And then when you're born, you're helpless, totally helpless. You'd die if they didn't look after us. Totally. So, some of it we can speculate, we know because we've seen babies and or we've actually given birth and had a baby, but that's happened for us too. So, and even if we hold grudges, I mean, I did that with my dad, and then I go, wait a minute, he did this, he did that. I mean, it's like, wow, there's other things I'm leaving out. I'm leaving out of the story, you know? So it's like a one-sided story well, he hurt me. He said this that hurt me. Therefore, bad guy. you know. Well, it's not that simple, is it? It's not that simple. People are complicated. People do the best they can. So I hung out in this retreat on this topic because that I had to give a talk on it. We all had to give talks. So I thought of all the things my mom did for me, and wow. So it's amazing. Then you think you think, you don't have to see others as your mother. You can just see them as being kind. Not, well, okay, kind. Well, they're not doing it intentionally. Kind means they're being, well, not, well, it benefits me so that it's helpful to me. People who work in stores and stock the shelves and grow crops and make the roads and make buildings, all these people, makes my life easier, you know. Turn on the water in the morning and just, uh, we can go, wow, water. Where's water come from? Plumbing, or I had a plumbing problem last week, and it's like the plumber comes and fixes it, and it's like, wow, now my water pressure is 4 times what it was before, you know, like amazing. I've been milking that one for weeks, for an awe moment or celebrating. People are getting tired of me carrying this pipe around and showing it to them. It's so narrow. It got so narrow. I should have brought it. No, I shouldn't have. No, I shouldn't have. So spending time on analytical meditations is really powerful, I think, you know. And then that's developing compassion and love for others and our connection with others. And then on the other side is working on our view of things and how they appear to us and trying to wear that down a little bit, that okay, there's no way it's impossible for me to be independently existing. It's impossible. Yet I have a strong feeling. There's a strong feeling of that, right? Strong sense of I. Somehow an I that floats around inside that's separate from the body. Because we go my body, we go my mind. So where's that? Where's that I? So it's a name. It exists that way, and we do exist, we do function, but not so strongly independently like that. So it's important to do those kind of meditations. Yeah. Okay. Um, oh, what a nice scene. Oh, hi. Oh, Teresa, hi. Wow, you're in Bali or somewhere.
I wish I was just my background. Good to be with
Oh,
you
I
guys.
know, I know. Uh, so let's do a little meditation, and then we'll talk about some of the things that get in the way of being able to celebrate for others or being able to have a light heart. Okay, so yeah, the big thing is just sitting up straight. You can lie down on your back too and meditate. Not a You can sit in a chair, you can sit cross-legged. It's more what the mind is doing. But the body, mind are connected, and so we can um, support the meditation through having good posture, being relaxed. So letting your body relax, letting your legs relax, your toes, your feet, really bring awareness into your body. And your fingers and arms and torso, letting the shoulders relax and the face relax. And then letting the mind relax, letting go of past memories, future plans, and just being present right now. Embodied, and it's okay to smile. Totally okay in this moment. Now follow the breath. Bring your attention to the breathing, and be aware of the of your tummy expanding and contracting as you breathe. Just let your breath flow naturally. Awareness of it starting in your tummy, contracting, but the whole body. Be aware of the whole body moving as you breathe. The whole body breathing. Just let the breath go its own course. Don't try to control it. Mindfulness of the breath, and a part of the mind on watch. If it we get distracted, then we gently bring the attention back to the breath. From the vantage point of this awareness, open the awareness to whatever arises. The breath, thoughts, feelings, sensations in the body, without following after them or rejecting them. Just be aware of whatever arises. From the place of awareness, sensations arise. They stay for a while, pass away, move on. Something else comes up, a thought, a feeling, a sound. Now return to your breath, focusing on the breath. And again, bringing awareness to the entire body, your toes, all the way up to the top of your head. Being fully embodied, their awareness. Okay, we'll bring it to a close. So, so what gets in the way of having peace of mind? In Buddhism, sometimes they talk about just the mind being agitated. It's like, the water that's vibrating or ocean, it's turbulent waves, disturbing emotions, thoughts, overwhelm, obsessive compulsive, getting depressed, anxiety. Um, how to, it's different, so many methods of how to calm the mind, you know, or how to be present during disturbance and be in that place, like we just did, like being in awareness and you see it all happening, but you're not identifying with it, you're not reifying it, you're not buying into it, you're not getting caught up in the drama. Um, Still have an experience. It's not like we become, you know, like a piece of wood. It's still going on, but our reaction is different. But there's different ways. Some just like, you know, you have a drinking problem, don't go to the bar. Stay away from don't buy alcohol. Stay away from it, block it out. and then maybe you can transform it. Like, okay, I'm going to take on everybody's addictions. You know, I have one, so I might as well have everybody so they can be free of it, and have compassion and love for others who suffer from things, or just see it as just a thought, just a thought that comes up in the mind, and stay in awareness. You get more difficult. It's easier to just stay away from the bar at first. So sometimes we have to cycle through different methods, right? Try different methods. Like sometimes somebody hurts us, we need to stay away from them. We can't even think of them. We don't even want to hear their name. And then maybe we can start to change that a bit, and then we can hear their name, and we don't have that, you know, right? And so it's gradual. So what are some things that we do that make things that stir up the water, that make things worse? One, and I'm just going to go through a couple quickly, and then there's one I want to dwell on a little bit because it's been coming up for some people. I've seen it lately more. So, um, but it's this building up our awareness of what's going on in our mind is so helpful because it's like we can catch ourselves saying things like, "Oh, I really need this," and in fact, I don't really need. And then you go, "Well, you don't really need it. You want it, but you could survive without it." You know what I mean? So we have to catch our speech. One is the uh, in Western psychology, called the four C's. So they were like catastrophizing. This is the worst thing in the world that could ever happen to me. I mean, that's an extreme of what one would say, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's terrible, This is terrible. And so we watch what that does to our mind and whether it's actually an apt description of what's going on. I mean, can we really know what's going on? Because sometimes I have this plaque. It's in my bathroom now, but supervisor said it to me once when I was working with um, well, they were called severely emotionally disturbed kids in a high school, and then the state took away the severely, and I remember they were upset by that. They said, "How dare they take that away from us?" A couple of them said that. Anyway, so I would get a call that there was an emergency, and I told her about this, and she said, "Well, there is this Chinese proverb about crisis is opportunity." So I have it in Chinese characters now. Crisis is opportunity. So I mean that's a different way. So that made me when I got the call, then I would go, well, uh, I don't have to get all like this because it could be an opportunity for growth, for something good to happen, right? So really how we look at things is huge. So creating crises or having this, I have to do it right now. You know, it's like check up on our mind. Do I have to? So another one is I can't stand it. I can't handle this. I've had it. It's too much. Oh, wait a minute, Then you get, yeah, it's like they're like talking to yourself, right? Talking yourself off the ledge. Come on now, just calm down. You've done things before. You did this, you did that, Um, you've had this experience before. You call on your own experience. You call on your own wisdom. So that's what you're doing. What we're doing, we're calling on our wisdom to look at our troubled mind, our agitated mind, and saying, okay, So the wisdom we can develop more by reading, studying with teachers, like Dalai Lama and teachers who've really put in lifetimes, you know. So we can be guided and we can read books and we can meditate and we can grow this wisdom that can catch us, quicker and quicker. And then the next one is commanding. Yeah, this shouldn't be happening to me. The shoulds, right? This shouldn't be happening. It's it's unfair, right? Well, it is happening. So right? So you just same, and then the last one's condemning, like you want to blame somebody for what's going on. It's my parents' fault, it's my mom's fault, the way she, or it's my fault. I went through that in high school with somebody. First, if you go, no, well, what part do you play in? Oh, so it's my fault, huh? Oh, so now you're saying it's my fault. So we want to blame somebody. We want to blame somebody outside of us or ourselves for what's going on. It's not that we shouldn't be accountable and we shouldn't, look at things we've done wrong to people, for sure, but we don't have to go so like character assassination, like I'm a terrible person because I did this thing. It's like, okay, yeah, that wasn't a good thing you did. So do something about it, like, you know, have regret, you know, that regret is good, right? If we didn't regret, like that's a bad feeling, doesn't feel good, but it's a really good thing to have because if we didn't have it, we wouldn't know right from wrong. We would hurt people. We would hurt ourselves, right? So it's some things that are uncomfortable can be quite helpful. So, like having your arm reset when it's broken, right? Like, oh, don't do it. I don't want you to do it. It's going to hurt. Well, okay. Somebody, they didn't fix their finger for a long time. The joint was out. And then when they had to have it done, if they had done it right away, put it back, but they didn't. So then they needed to have a metal bar put in, and that's going to have to be taken out. And, you know, so the quicker we can catch things, the less suffering we'll have. So we catch these things. So those are four things. Those are some things to look out for that can make things worse for us. Um, if we're putting ourselves down, you know, feeling bad about ourselves, then we have to look at, okay, what, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, thanks. I got catastrophize, command. I
Can't
forgot.
stand it.
Third, sorry?
Can't stand it.
Can't stand it. What's the fourth one?
Condemn,
Oh, condemn. Thank
like
you.
you're blaming somebody.
Okay, got
Or,
it. Thank you.
yeah. Um, yeah. So I wanted to get into a bit about holding a grudge or resentment towards somebody. Anybody know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Have you had experience? People have had experience with that? Yeah. I have, you know, right? Somebody hurt, usually we're hurt by somebody, right? Even strong abuse, even physical abuse or sexual abuse, some people have been through. Terrible physical abuse. So, but what does that do to us if we hold a grudge, have resentment? It hurts us, huh? So there's this book, Forgive for Good, by Fred Luskin. I don't know if you know it. No? Okay. So, um, I have to read these definitions of forgiveness from this book. Because what he says, when we have this, when this happens to us, what we do is we take it too personally. Well, what else am I going to do? It happened to me. But we're not the only one it's happened to. It's happened to a lot of people. And we think it's they did it intentionally. Sometimes, we think they did it intentionally to hurt me. So we take it really, really well, anyway, don't have to get into each one so much. Then we blame the other person for how we feel. Well, there's that blame one, right? I got to blame somebody. You want me to blame, I'm going to blame me for how I feel when they did it to me? Are you crazy? Yeah, I think it is a little crazy. Sometimes Buddhism is really crazy compared to conventional wisdom. I mean, to everyday wisdom. Because what do? We have lawsuits. We don't forgive. We don't forgive. Are you kidding me? You know, like um, it's fun to do it though. Like I recently, I not too long ago, I told my uh, what's the proper word? Landlord's weird. Land person? No, owner of my house, the person I rent from, that I thought that I wanted to raise the rent. Yeah, blew her mind. You know, like isn't that's fun? That's fun to do. It was time, you know. It's like so she surprised me and she said before I could say that, she said I have to raise the rent. And I said, "Well, let's make it 200." So we can do these things, you know. We can do things that are not conventional, you know, just to be generous or to be. So forgiving, I think, is one of those. Like, yeah, we do have to change the way we think about things because it causes us so much suffering. So listen to this definition. Forgiveness means you make peace with a bitter part of your past and no longer blame your experience on the offender. Your experience, our experience is our experience. It's not what I had this once, you know, somebody that's you feel is hurting you, and then you go home and you keep letting them hurt you, even though they're not around you, right? You're not with them anymore, but you go home, you take them home with you. Your good friend, not your friend, but the one who's hurting you carry him around with you. And you think you visualize them and you visualize again what they did and you re-hurt yourself and re-hurt yourself, right? I don't know. You know, we do that. We do that to ourselves, and it feels right. It feels right. Somehow it feels like, you know, they should be. I'm not. Yeah, I get it. You don't want to be. We don't want to be around them necessarily. We don't want to be re-hurt. We don't want to keep being in that position and being. It's not about being going and saying, you know, being with them. I mean, it doesn't mean that. It means like letting go of that. And so forgiveness is the feeling of peace that emerges as you take your hurt less personally, take responsibility for how you feel, and become a hero instead of a victim in the story you tell. Forgiveness means that even though you are wounded, you choose to hurt and suffer less. Wow. That is a hero. Dalai Lama talks about how much courage this path takes. And I really get that. I really get that because I'm a coward in a lot of ways, you know? But you keep trying to be more courageous, you know, like, okay, let me try it. I'm going to try that, you know? That's all. Just try it, you know? Let me try that. Let me see what happens if I do that, you know? So I know somebody, you know, yeah, I've heard stories, um, you know, the counseling that I did for so many years and stuff. Somebody held a grudge for a really long time and you know, you try to, they were really abused, and then they try to reach out and try to get the people to even just admit what happened. You know, some people won't even acknowledge they did anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to hurt you. You know, what are you going on about? You know, you're like, what are you, delusional? You know, like it didn't happen that way, right? Or people try to cover up for other people's um, abuse. You know, don't want trouble in the family, or you know, what are you doing, you know? So finally this person, you know, asked the lama and said, you just have to forgive them. And I think this is what he meant, right? Not say what they did was right. That's not forgiveness in this definition, is it? You're not saying what they did was okay or it was right. You're not saying that. You're not saying that you wouldn't stand up, you know, you wouldn't like report somebody to Child Protection Services. That, you know, it doesn't mean any of that. You do that stuff, you know, because they can keep hurting people. But what do you do with your own hurt? What do you do with your own resentment? What do you do with your own grudge? You know, my brother's a therapist, and he sometimes has kids when he did worked with teens. I think he like have them load up a pack with rocks and carry it around. You know this one? Yeah. And those rocks are all this stuff we have, this anger, this resentment, burden. It's a burden, You know, we start to see it as a burden. So we start to lighten our heart, lighten our burden by getting rid of these uh, ways that we see people, you know. I don't know, maybe I had the experience once where somebody, I just like, oh my gosh, you know, this guy bugging me, you know. I was petty stuff, you know, the way he ate or he was like sloppy and brought up German, so, you know. And then he told me a story of getting shot and, you know, kidnapped and shot. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know. So if I'd been through that, what would I be like? You know, what kind of mess would I be? What would I be? How would I be manifesting? So whoever's done anything to us, what have they been through? What happened to them? Why did they do what they did? You know. So there's different ways to try to engender. You know, I always thought my what helped me was my parents did. If they could have done it differently, they would have. Right? I mean, that's how we all are. If I could have done it differently, I would have. I'm trying to do better, but you know, some people don't. They're not trying to do it better. You know, they're just doing it the same way every. So it's incumbent on us to take care of our own mind, right? That's what this is. That's what Buddhism says. That's what Buddha said when he died. That's what he said. His final words, I think, huh? Like work out your own, you know, work it out yourself. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, oh, you're healed. You know, it's not gonna be like that. You know, it can be inspiring. It can give you um, a good role model. It can give you some, you know, maybe share some insight. But then that insight we have to take in and have it have it grow and become part of us, right? So that's the good news, right? That we don't have to wait around or go looking too far for something. And we all have that innermost awareness, that pure awareness, that wisdom and within us. It's just a matter of uncovering. So one of the things we do in this forgiveness thing is we impose unenforceable rules on people. I love that out of the book. Okay, it's an expectation you have of someone or a situation that you do not have the power to make happen. This could be an expectation for your parents to treat you as well as they treat your brother or sister, where you do not have the power to make things come out the way you want. An unenforceable rule. That's one of those shoulds, I think, in that other four C's. It's a should. They shouldn't treat me that way. I would like it if they didn't treat me that way. But if you make it an unenforceable rule, then you just get frustrated. You can't make them treat you the way you want to be treated. I mean, you can talk to them, you can communicate, right? You can. It's good. I mean, sometimes it's successful, right? Where you talk about the way you talk, you do meta communication, and you go, you know, when you use I messages, you know, when you said this, I felt this way because, you know, when this happened, I felt this way because. And then you reflective listen and you try to work things out, right? But, you know, if you're demanding that somebody act a certain way or be a certain way, do we have power over how other people? Some people try to, right? They put it, some people try to control other people and it causes a lot of problems. I mean, I'm trying to just bring up kind of the other side to these. I mean, so I think it's good to catch us when we catch ourselves when we're going, because that can stop us from like just being in the moment, being aware of what's going on. You know, sometimes it means checking up in our body when somebody offends us or somebody threatens us or somebody criticizes us and taking that breath and just being aware of what's going on. Like I'm, wow, I'm really uh, that can bring us back to being aware instead of just being caught up in a reaction from that feeling in the body. And then the meditating can help us foster how we want to show up in those situations, you know? Like I want to be present. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to cause more problems. I want to try to be compassionate. Um, I want to communicate better, things like that. Get along. So I don't know. I think it's there's a thing of this this king wanted to be able to go outside and in India. He wanted to go outside and walk around barefoot, right? So he wanted ideas about how he could do that because, there's thorns and there's rocks and it's rough outside, right? So um, one guy came and said, what I think we should do is we get all the oxen we can and the plows and we'll just smooth everything out, cut down all the trees so there aren't branches laying where you walk and, clear out all the rocks and just make it all smooth, right? And the guy said, no, I like the forest and the landscape, and I don't want to do that. That's a dumb idea. So maybe it didn't say that, but thank you very much. But and the other guy said, well, what we'll do is we'll kill all the cows and take their hides and lay the leather out everywhere. So when you walk, you're walking on these hides, and then you won't hurt your feet, right? He said, the cows are sacred in India. What are you doing? We don't kill cows. So you know where this is headed, don't you? The next guy comes in and says, look, just wear shoes. Wear a pair of shoes, then wherever you go, your feet are protected, right? So that's what this is about. If we're patient, then it doesn't matter if somebody's angry at us. We can stay patient, you know. If somebody says something hurtful, um, we got our shoes on. It doesn't mean we don't feel these things and that we know, sometimes it could be that it's causing them a lot of suffering to be so angry. They're so angry. So many things we can do when somebody's angry at us. We can run away, right? Fight or flight or freeze. We could go there. We could go to lizard brain. Yeah, it's okay. We could do that, right? It might be the right thing to do. I'm getting out of here. In fact, I heard that from a cop once when I worked in the high school. I said, well, what is self-defense? Like, when can I strike back? Not that I'm not a fighter, but I mean, because kids would say, well, yeah, he hit me first, so I hit him back. She said, well, she got me to go stand in a corner of the room, and she came over and she got right there. And she said, this is when you can strike back. If I were to hit you right now, then you can strike back because you have no way to get away. Right? Okay, so you can run away, you can fight back, you can freeze. I've 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 been prone to that one. Like you don't know what you do, you just don't do anything. You're like, right? I think there's a fourth one, but I don't remember what it is. Huh? What is it? Yeah, that's what it is. Something to do with the fawn. Is it? Like with a fawn? Like a deer fawn? I heard that one too. Oh, act really like like submissive, like curl up in a ball or something, like you're supposed to do with bear when a bear attacks you. You know, I know we digress, but it's interesting. Yeah, if it's a mountain lion, you're supposed to go like this, and if it's a bear, you're supposed to curl up, right? So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So you try to please them. Yeah, right. Thank you. So one time this guy saw a lion in front of him, so he went like this, and then he turned around and behind him there was a bear. So he got out of the way and they scared each other or something. So the other thing we can do is we can engage. We can try to communicate with the person. Sounds like you're really upset, and I could just I think we can both be here right now, and it could work out. And hi, and we have different options, right? They're not all fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I mean, we could try to engage. We could try to um, understand what's going on for the person. Yeah. So, um, but so the meditating and sitting is more like preparing a bit for these situations, right? It's sort of like a place to prepare ourselves when we go out and meet people, how we want to show up. And then and then we go out and then we blow it right away. You know, today when I see this person, I'm not going to fall in the same old trap, same old way of seeing them and getting all nervous or mad at them or whatever. I'm going to be different. And then they say one thing and we go. So we have to be very patient with ourselves, right? In our practice, patient and kind to ourselves and have a sense of humor, right? Have a sense of humor about it and know that it's these habits are strong. So we just keep at it. But we know that it's worthwhile. So, okay. So another meditation, you think? You want to stretch a little bit at all? Just stand up and stretch if you like. Just a couple minutes. We won't do standing like a tree. Were you here for that? Amy and Chris, were you here? You weren't here for standing like a tree with my roots dug down? One of these days we'll do that. I learned it from Bev, my wife, who's a preschool teacher. So it's really nice. Welcome. Welcome. Hi. Any comments or questions before we sit or insights? Yeah. 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 That sounded weird, didn't it? Like you have to be patient with yourself. That didn't sound very patient. Patience can be very helpful, I think. Yeah. 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 Oh, because you're what, being patient? Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You do. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, really. That it's difficult because it's like I don't know the situation, I don't know your relationship, and so it kind of depends. It kind of depends on how much you can get into meta communication, like talking about the way we talk. So it, if they're open to that, if they want to improve the communication style, the way you communicate, if they're into that, right? Do you think they are? Yeah. So then it's like, well, when I say this when I said something to my partner, uh, say she reacts and says, "Oh, I want a divorce. You're belittling me. I'm scared. I'm out of here." So then I don't want to be that way. That wasn't my intention. So I can ask her, well, this is what I want to say. How could I say it in a way that so you don't feel that way? So that's meta communication because our intention's not enough because the way we say things has an effect on the other person or an impact. So we have to understand what that is and then adjust our delivery so that our intention can be understood, right? So that takes time because it's like you have to learn how to how to talk in a way that's suitable to that person. Does that make sense? So, but if they're not willing, then it's a matter of this happens with parenting when I did parenting classes, that it's the parents who have to change. You don't take this class if you're doing it to manipulate your kids to be a certain way. You know, if you want them if you want them to be respectful, then you need to be respectful. If you like, you can't go like you don't want them yelling at each other. So you say, "Quit yelling at your sister." That's not modeling. You're modeling the wrong thing. So you have to become a model for the way that you want to be, and you're not trying to change the other person. You're working on your own mind and trying to stay, unless you get into that meta communication, and they're open to that. I mean, this is just one idea. You know, yeah. I mean, if they're open to that, then and you can read it. I think it's good to study because I was in grad school when I got into that. So you study it a little bit, read about it, figure out I messages and reflective listening. You know, when you say this, I feel this way because, so you're not blaming them for how you feel, and then you got to be ready to listen to them. So what I'm hearing you say is that, when I said this to you, it really hurt your feelings. Let him know how they feel and that you heard them. So there's a lot of communication. So that's where, like in Buddhism, study is really important. Contemplation is important, and then meditating and trying to make it part of your experience so that it just comes more automatically is important. So, yeah. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. Okay. Let's do a little meditation before we run out of time. Okay. So a good meditation book is How to Meditate by Kathleen McDonald. Yeah, you know that one? No? Okay. Yeah, How to Meditate. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna meditate a little more about the clarity of the mind because we can talk about all these things that are troublesome that get in the way of us having a peaceful mind, a happy mind. Um, but the base of it is this mind that is unpolluted, uncontaminated, unobstructed awareness, right? It's awareness. It doesn't get enough attention. We go about our lives caught up in our senses. Um, a body mind is moving around, and our ego tries to hold things, um, likes and dislikes. So it's a real antidote for this concrete view that we have of things. Trying to gain a direct experience of the non-material, um, transient nature of our thoughts, um, and kind of weakening our tendency to identify with them so strongly. So if we could create a space where we can say to ourselves, "This is a projection of my thought, and my thoughts are clear and transitory. Objects do not exist the way that I see them, not solid, separate from my perception of them. Then we start to slow down the reaction time, and jealousy and anger and selfishness, depression. They don't have such a hold on us. Okay. So begin again with breathing, and bring your breath down to your stomach, and just observe the breath without thinking about the breath. Just awareness of the movement of your body when you breathe. And our mind will want to wander, be distracted, and wants to just think about things. So um, also see those thoughts or any sounds or feelings are also just part of awareness. They don't have any solid form. They don't have any color. They're not concrete. They're non-material. The thoughts, the feelings, sensations. They're like waves in the ocean of pure awareness, like clouds in the sky of awareness. Feel this clarity, this space-like vastness of awareness. Clear, unobstructed, non-material, but knowing. It knows things. If that's difficult, you can imagine that you're staring up into the sky, completely clear day, free of clouds, just vastness of that vastness of space, of sky, unobstructed spaciousness. This is our awareness. This knowing spaciousness, where things appear as part of that awareness, coming in and out of awareness. The way we see things around us is part of our awareness. The way we experience our body is part of our awareness. All clear, non-substantial. Without chasing after thoughts, feelings, sensations, or trying to reject them. Just see them as the nature of this clarity of mind. Whatever sounds appear in awareness. Thoughts, feelings, sensations. Be this awareness. If thoughts, feelings, sensations arise, just see the spaciousness of them. They're just part of awareness. Okay, we'll bring this to a close. Tyler, I think we have a few more names to add. We give away a book, so we need your name for the raffle. Tyler will get your name. Okay? If you want, yeah. What? Aw, tonight. Oh wow. It's small, you could carry it. Small. So, do you know why angels can fly? Huh? They have wings? Because they take themselves lightly. Huh? So I looked it up, okay, because I'd heard. So angels can ascend and move freely because they are not weighed down by excessive seriousness or self-importance, right? That's part of taking ourselves lightly. We don't overvalue our self-importance. Humility and lightness can enable great things. They have a greater sense of wonder, joy, and freedom. It's not about being frivolous or uncaring, right? Angels are very caring. Um, but they have a sense of detachment from worldly concerns, anxieties, and pride. So they're very open, right? Yeah. So we can all be angels. Possible, huh? It's possible, isn't it? Yeah, it's possible. What do you think, Tyler? Okay. Who are on, do you have the ones online? Okay. Okay. But none, but they're all either here or online right now? Or do you have some ones that aren't here? Okay, we'll just check those out. Oh, you're drawing. Okay, cool. Wow, I love it. I love it. Sarada? Yeah. Oh, Kumar? Kumar? Yeah. You put both your names on here. See, that's great. So you're going back to India. Okay. Do you want to take this with you? No, not really, huh? How to Smile by Thich Nhat Hanh. Do you know Thich Nhat Hanh? You do? Okay. Are you going back to India too? Okay. All right. Cool. No, here. You, oh no, no, this was for reference. Yeah. No, see, I've chewed this one up. Do you guys do this when you read books? Underline things and put piece of paper in them? Yeah. Okay. So, next week we're going to get into more Buddhist practices that increase joy in our lives. Rejoicing is a big one, so we'll get more into that. It's not term usually used in the West so much. Uh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Have a safe journey. Yeah. You can what? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. See you. All right. Yes. Amy. No, the next one's August 2nd. I know, and it wasn't last week, was it? Last time, I should have said. Yeah, it's a sporadic. There's one more in this series, and then we'll see. Okay, so always good at the end to dedicate. May all beings. Angels dream, right? Angels can. May all beings live in peace, right, without conflict, and be happy, huh? And may we bring it about. May we help bring it about. What else? What else is there to do? What else is there to do? I don't know. I've been in retreats sometimes, and I go, oh, this is so hard. I mean, it's hard. You're just like trying to change your mind. It's like one retreat, it was like the only thing I learned was to be more tolerant because it was so hard to change. It's like I want other people to change. I can't even change myself. But it's like, then I think, well, what am I going to do? Go to a movie? Go out to a restaurant? Well, yeah, I mean, those are all, it's okay, but it's like, it's a good thing. This is good work to do. Like just a little bit every day, a little meditation every day. Try to calm the mind, try to look at the mind, try to see pick out your hardest thing and work on it. Try to wear it down a little bit. Feel the joy inside. Yeah, seems worthwhile. Way to spend our time. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all, and we'll see you maybe August 2nd. Yeah.